Winter had settled over Stalingrad, a cruel, unrelenting frost that seemed to freeze time itself. The city, once a bustling industrial hub, was now a broken shell of its former self. Buildings lay in ruins, streets littered with debris, and the air was thick with smoke. But in the midst of the devastation, one figure moved through the rubble with an eerie calm: Wilhelm, a German sniper, known to his comrades as Der Schatten, the Shadow. Wilhelm was unlike any other soldier in the 6th Army. He had been trained for this mission since he was a boy, hunting in the forests of Bavaria, where patience and precision were key. Now, in the decimated streets of Stalingrad, his skills would be put to the ultimate test. Every day, his rifle claimed the lives of Soviet soldiers, and with each shot, he felt his humanity slip further away. But it was not just the Germans who feared Wilhelm. The Soviet forces knew of him as well. They had their own sharpshooters, and a deadly game of cat and mouse had begun, with each side trying to outwit the other. It wasn't just about accuracy anymore. It was about survival. One morning, as Wilhelm took his position in the upper floor of a crumbling building, he caught sight of a lone figure across the street. It was a Soviet sniper, a woman, her rifle aimed directly at him. The briefest of glances passed between them. Two enemies, both professionals, both survivors. Wilhelm's finger hovered over the trigger, but he didn't fire. Instead, he watched as the woman moved quickly, vanishing into the shadows. For a moment, Wilhelm was unsure of what to do. He had been trained to kill without hesitation, yet something about this encounter unsettled him. Was it the realization that they were more alike than different, both just soldiers doing their duty in a war that seemed never-ending? Days passed and the battle raged on. Wilhelm's comrades spoke of the fierce fighting and the Soviets' determination, but the sniper's mind was elsewhere. He couldn't shake the image of the Soviet woman, her face so focused, her eyes full of resolve. It was as though she had looked into his soul. Then, on the 5th day of the same intense skirmish, as Wilhelm took up his position once again, he saw her. She was further away this time, on the opposite side of the battlefield. He quickly set up his rifle, aimed, and prepared to take the shot. But again, he hesitated. In that moment, he could feel the weight of his decisions bearing down on him. What had brought him here? What had brought her here? For the first time in months, he was no longer just the hunter, he was the hunted. The game had changed. But before he could act, the sound of artillery rang through the air, shaking the ground beneath him. A bomb struck the building next to him, sending debris flying, and in the chaos, Wilhelm was forced to abandon his position. As he scrambled for safety, he heard the crack of a rifle. The bullet whizzed past his ear, narrowly missing. Wilhelm dove for cover and took a deep breath. In the distance, he saw her again, the Soviet sniper, moving swiftly through the ruins, her rifle trained on him. This time, there was no hesitation. The moment had arrived. He squeezed the trigger. The shot rang out. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then he saw her fall, her body collapsing into the rubble. Wilhelm's heart pounded in his chest as he lowered his rifle. For a moment, everything around him seemed to blur. He didn't know if it was the shock of killing another soldier, or the realization that he had taken down the one person who had mirrored his own struggle for survival. The war would continue, the city would burn, and Wilhelm, the shadow in the ruins of Stalingrad, would move on. But that moment, the hesitation before the shot, would stay with him forever. As the days wore on and the battle grew even more brutal, Wilhelm began to feel a strange emptiness. The war had claimed so much, so many lives, so many dreams. He had once believed he was fighting for a cause, for his homeland, but now he wasn't so sure. In the face of destruction, all that remained were the ghosts of those who had fallen, soldiers who never asked for war, yet were trapped in it just the same. The Soviet sniper, her name forgotten by time, was but one of many shadows that haunted Stalingrad. And Wilhelm, the shadow that hunted them all, was left alone, his rifle now feeling heavier than ever.